At a young age, I suffered from so much confusion from the abandonment of my mother. There would be times that I would call my grandmother mommy, and my sister would be like, "That is not your mommy." And it just would give me just so much confusion and so much anger of, if that's not my mom, then who is? Where is my mom? If she loves me, then why did she leave us? And so that led to years of self-hate. And so I started doing self-harm. I think the self-harm was one of my first addictions because it just made me feel something. My dad was a single father of two, so he just wasn't able to be emotionally present for us like we needed him to be. I had days where I would come home from school and just feel so lonely and feel like nobody sees me. Most of the time, it was just me outside playing by myself. And we didn't do a lot of eating dinner like at the table together. We didn't do a lot of like family talk. At the age of 17, I met my son's father, and he made me feel safe. In those moments, he made me feel seen. And by the age of 19, I was a full-blown fentanyl addict. I was 5 months pregnant and didn't know that I was pregnant. I had went to the hospital for breathing issues, and that's when the doctor told me I was pregnant. He looked at me and asked me if I wanted to know what I was having. And before I could even answer, the first thought that came to my mind was, I don't even want this child. And that's when I asked him if it was too late for an abortion. Thankfully, with the support of my sister, I chose life. I chose to keep my baby. Just the pull to get high was just so strong that I had no care about the newborn baby that I had. I had found myself going from hotel room to hotel room, leaving my son in the car with random people. And one night, I found myself walking down the street with my newborn baby. I had called my sister to come get me, and that's when she looked at me and was like, something has to change.
So my childhood growing up was very chaotic and dysfunctional. My parents, they always fought all the time. They were addicted to drugs and was alcoholic real bad. It made me very sad. I always felt like I wasn't enough and that I wasn't worthy. When I was 19 years old, I met the father of my kids through prostitution. It was really hard just having a preemie baby and then taking care of a 10-month-old at the same time. And then for him to always be drunk and wanting to fight. He would black my eye. He would break all of our stuff in our house. He had pulled machetes out on me before. So I finally got the nerve up to leave him one day when he was at work. And me and my kids were going couch to couch, staying at friend's house. And I ended up getting pulled over, and I called my sister right away and asked her to come get my kids. So she come and got my kids. And I was supposed to take them swimming that day, but we didn't make it. I went in and out of jail, kept going in and out of jail, and would get out and still do the same things over and over. And I wouldn't call my kids, I wouldn't talk to them, because I didn't want them to see me high. So the things that I went through in my childhood is the same things that I promised that I wouldn't do to my kids, and here I was repeating the same cycle.
What my mom was like before was she never played with me. She was on her phone a lot. So before coming to Blue Monarch, my mom didn't feed me. She didn't help me with my homework.
This is our 22nd year at Blue Monarch. One of the things that really makes us unique in the recovery community is that we focus on the child's recovery as much as we do the mom's. And what we're seeing is the impact now, because some of the kids that lived with us as toddlers or young children are coming back as young adults, and what they report is that they have nothing but incredible, beautiful memories of their time here. In our third year, we really realized that we needed to help women learn how to parent their children sober, because if they left our program and they still were not equipped to do that, then they would likely be tempted to turn to drugs as a way to cope with the stress. And so that's when we also created our Parenting Sober program that is so rich. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we have noticed an incredible increase in the level of trauma that our children have suffered. And so one of the great things about our program is that as we recognize a need, we find a way to meet that need. And so as a result, our program has gotten richer and richer through the years. But now we are able to help children in a way that we weren't able to do before, and help them kind of overcome the trauma that they have experienced. And we have seen incredible results. Like even a child that had been diagnosed with autism and now he's not, and it was just a result of trauma. And a child that never smiled, he had experienced a real crisis before he came here. And one of the things that was remarkable about him is that he never smiled, he never played. And after he was really helped with his trauma, it was incredible the difference in that child. I mean, he just, the first time that we saw him running around and playing football with his friends, like all the other kids, it was like a miracle.
So I knew that it was time for me to do something different, so I put in an application at Blue Monarch. It was really hard being at Blue Monarch because I knew that it was time for me to find myself and that I needed to dig deep into finding who I was. And it also was hard because I didn't have my kids. Even though they wasn't here, I decided to do everything that I needed to do to work on myself and to get myself together so that way I could be the best mom to my kids that I could be, because they deserve that. And so now that I get to spend all the time that I can with them, and I get to wake up every day with them and get them ready for school and be there to pick them up off the school bus and just to ask them how their day's going, it really just melts my heart, because that's something that I didn't get growing up. And I love us praying at nighttime. I love us reading the Bible. And I just love that we get to go to church every Sunday together. My son told me the other day during our family meeting that he was glad that he had his family back and that he actually feels safe now being with me. And that really touched my heart, because it's been a struggle with him. And just knowing that now that he does feel safe, I wouldn't have it no other way.
And now since she came to Blue Monarch, they helped her a lot. And now she plays with me and takes good care of me and feeds me. My mom lets me go to school. She feeds me. My favorite thing to do with my mom is to help her cook and play with her.
The Blue Monarch application had sat on my dresser for 3 months. And that next morning, my aunt came over and was like, I'm here to fax over your application. I just felt like this is something I had to do to show my son a better life than what I had when I was growing up. When we got to Blue Monarch, Zeke was only 4 months old, and I just had these insane expectations on him. I just wanted him to excel and just wanted him to do all the things right. And I've learned here that it's just good to let a kid be a kid, and that the mistakes are okay. As a kid, I didn't know that. I thought being perfect is what made people love you, is what made people want to be with you and care for you. But I have changed that by just letting my son be exactly who God made him to be. I love doing things with my son that were never really done with me. And so one of our special moments is when it's time to water our plants. He is always there ready, waiting with his little spray bottle. He loves doing just around the house like chores with me. So what I want Zeke to remember in his childhood was that I was present, I was adventurous with him, and that I was able to allow him to be creative and just flourish as the young man that God created him to be.
I'm really happy that Blue Monarch has become what I would call like a forever family for so many women and children who have been here. When we started in 2003, I don't think I had any idea what I was looking at or what was gonna be accomplished. But if you had told me that Blue Monarch would impact families and generations the way that we are, I probably would have thought that that was impossible. But I'm seeing it firsthand now, and what I'm seeing is that we absolutely are impacting future generations.